Hello, welcome to Đồng Nai Radio and Television Station. Here comes the news today. The Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership (CPTPP) between Vietnam and the first six countries, which took effect since December 30th, 2018, is considered as a great opportunity to boost export volume and create conditions for enterprises to develop production and trade. However, the result after a year of implementation remains extremely modest. According to the Central Institute for Economic Management, in 2019, the first year of the implementation of the CPTPP, export turnover of Vietnam to six member countries that approved the agreement, consisting of Canada, Mexico, Japan, Singapore, Australia, and New Zealand, reached $34.4 billion, an increase of 8.3%. From these above figures, it is obvious that the benefits in export that the CPTPP brought to Vietnam in the first year are not as high as expected. Besides, enterprises must be the one who is proactive in the game because no agency or organization can do it for enterprises, of which enterprises need to improve their ability to access export markets by grasping the new rules of the game and studying the regulations of the trade and investment laws, the business practices, the corporate culture of members in the agreement. Starting from March the 5th, Vietnam Airlines will suspend all Vietnam-South Korea routes, and Vietjet will suspend from March the 7th. Flights of Asiana Airlines and Korean Air to Hanoi, Da Nang, and Ho Chi Minh City, the flights from Korea to Vietnam, are transit flights. This is the information released at the National Steering Committee on COVID-19 Disease Prevention held on March the 4th. The steering committee also discusses measures of isolation from those whom immigrated from Korea into Vietnam and continues to accelerate trade in goods through border gates and medical logistics. Currently, the number of people in close contact and entry from the epidemic area are being monitored for health is nearly 15,400, of which more than 400 people are isolated in hospital. Experts continue to emphasize that early detection and localization of the epidemic to prevent the source of transmission to the community remains the most effective and persistent solution. All citizens of Korea, Italy, Iran, and some countries with high number of cases when entering Vietnam must clearly and specifically declare accommodation, work with any agency or individual. For those Korean citizens who do not declare clearly, they will have to be isolated and concentrated like Vietnamese from the epidemic area. At the meeting, Deputy Prime Minister Vũ Đức Đam requested the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Science and Technology to urgently evaluate and appraise the dossier of COVID-19 diagnostic kits of Military Medical Academy and Viet Technology Stock Company if it meets standards for immediate production, meets the urgentness of epidemic prevention. The Ministry of Health has allowed two more establishments to conduct standardized medical check, namely Chợ Rẫy Hospital and Thái Nguyên Central Hospital. As of 7 a.m. on March the 5th, the number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 acute respiratory infection worldwide is 94,847, of which 3,258 deaths and 50,698 cases are acute. Notably, the COVID-19 epidemic in the U.S. is progressing very fast. Data from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says the country has recorded 158 infections, including 11 deaths. A few hours earlier, the number of cases infected was 129 people. The city of Los Angeles has declared a medical emergency after local officials said 6 new infections had been detected in the past 2 days. German Health Minister Jens Spahn said yesterday the outbreak of COVID-19 had become a global pandemic. Currently, there are 240 cases in 15 out of 16 states with no deaths recorded. By the end of yesterday, the number of positive cases in Italy was more than 3,000, up sharply from 2,500 cases in the previous day. The number of deaths was more than 100, an increase of 28 people. The number of infections in Sweden increased sharply to 52 after the discovery of 60 new cases in Stockholm. Hungary confirmed the first 2 cases of COVID-19 infection were Iranian students. Slovenia confirmed the first case was the patient from Italy and Morocco to Slovenia. Currently, Latin American countries have confirmed COVID-19 infection, including Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Ecuador, Dominican Republic, and Mexico. The epidemic situation in South Korea continues to be complicated when the total number of infections reached 5,766 cases and 35 deaths. Following the World Bank, the CEO of International Monetary Fund (IMF), Kristalina Georgieva, announced yesterday a $50 billion aid package to help combat COVID-19 epidemic. International Monetary Fund Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva announced a $50,000 billion aid package Wednesday to help fight the coronavirus. Georgieva said on CNBC's Scott Early that the money is available immediately and is for low-income and emerging market countries. Most of the money will be interest-free, and countries do not need to have a pre-existing program with the IMF to participate, she said. The organization is also working with World Bank to help countries obtain some of the medical equipment, such as medical masks and respiratory equipment. The World Bank announced a $12 billion program on Monday to help poor nations deal with the health and economic consequences of the epidemic. That's all for the news today. Thank you for joining us and goodbye.